It is a national debate whether minors should be able to receive gender-affirming medical care. Both sides of that conversation collided tonight at Grand Valley State University. Our Matt Whitkos explains.
A student group brought in a person who calls herself a former trans kid. Her message, minors shouldn't be able to medically transition. Her speech, however, did get some pushback.
Trans rights, human rights!
Tense moments Thursday on GVSU's Allendale's campus.
You're the one that is hating actively right now.
The reason, Chloe Cole, the GVSU chapter of Turning Point USA, brought her in to speak on what they call exposing the trans agenda.
I was just a kid. And like any kid, I was wrestling with the insecurities and the uncertainty that naturally come with being a young adolescent.
Cole explains that she started transitioning to male as a minor, receiving transition treatment at 13 and a double mastectomy at 15. She detransitioned a year later.
We must keep fighting until every state, every court, and every medical board and hospital understands that this mutilation of our youth is unconscionable.
The event space full, about 60 people seated, around a dozen attendees pushing back against her speech.
How do you reconcile the fact that your anecdotal evidence
Outside, several dozen students and many people from around the area
Yes, there's a bigger one over there.
showing their support for the transgender community.
I think supporting this community rather than sort of beating them down would be a much better sort of direction.
Cole explains that she hopes to keep sharing her story at other college campuses around the nation.
I consider myself today to be an advocate for the rights of children and their families, primarily because of my own experiences as a 20-year-old detransitioned woman.
I did reach out to Grand Valley State University's campus about the appearance. They did send me a statement that reads in part, the speaker was invited by a student organization to speak on campus. As a public university, GVSU upholds the First Amendment rights to free speech and assembly without viewpoint based on restrictions. Reporting here in Ottawa County, I'm Matt Whitkos, Fox 17 News.
All right, Matt, thank you. Since returning to office, President Trump has created several policies affecting transgender people. That includes cutting federal support for gender transition for anyone younger than 19. The executive order also directed federally run insurance programs to exclude coverage for such medical care. The order states that the U.S. will not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another. And it will rigorously enforce all laws that prohibit or limit these destructive and life-altering procedures. Trump's order argues that kids are too impressionable to make this kind of decision, so it is one they will later regret and cannot reverse. On the other hand, trans advocates argue gender-affirming care for youth isn't always medical in nature. So what do they say it looks like? First, there's an evaluation and diagnosis. That often happens with a pediatrician and/or a mental health specialist. Some trans youth may decide to start with a social transition that can involve a new hairstyle, clothing, name, or pronouns. Medical care can include puberty blockers, which experts say are reversible, and they say it also gives someone time to explore gender identity. Beyond that can be some kind of gender-affirming surgery, but the Grand Rapids Trans Foundation previously told us that surgeries are very rare in trans youth.